In today's video, we're delving into 3 bone-chilling Home Alone stories that will leave you questioning the very notion of safety within the familiar confines of your own residence. From unexplained phenomena to sinister encounters, we'll uncover the disturbing experiences of homeowners who found themselves caught in the grip of inexplicable and dangerous situations. I had just entered a fresh phase of my journey, moving into my first apartment. The excitement of independence filled the air as I settled into my new abode. Little did I know that this night would become a bone-chilling ordeal that would forever haunt my memories. It was a dark, spooky evening, the clock inching towards 8:30 p.m. The silence was broken by an unnerving sound, a distinct jiggling of the doorknob, as if someone were attempting to insert a key and unlock the door. My heart raced with anticipation, assuming it was my then-boyfriend returning home earlier than expected. A surge of excitement coursed through me, only to be swiftly replaced by a cold realization. The realization sank in like an icy grip. It couldn't be my boyfriend. It was too early, and he wasn't due back from work until 10:30. Panic slowly crept its way into my mind, seeping through every nerve. My instinct urged me to peer out of the kitchen window, hoping for a familiar sight, a familiar car parked outside. But all I saw was darkness, devoid of any known vehicle. Dread engulfed me as a sense of foreboding filled the air. The doorknob continued to tremble, persistent in its attempt to breach the sanctity of my home. With each passing second, the tension mounted, sending shivers down my spine. Suddenly, the person on my door was trying to invade my haven. My mind raced, a tempest of fear and confusion. I found myself frantically seeking refuge in the bathroom, my trembling hands clutching a knife, the only means of defense I could find within my reach. The weight of the situation pressed upon me as I dialed 911. My voice trembling with each word I uttered. The authorities needed to be alerted, for my safety was hanging by a thread. Time seemed to stretch agonizingly as I awaited help, my heart pounding in my chest like a war drum. The intruder persisted, their desperation growing evident as they resorted to a new tactic. A cold metallic scraping sound echoed through the door, signaling the presence of a foreign object being forced between the cracks. A relentless attempt to pry the barrier open. 3 minutes passed, each second feeling like an eternity. Finally, the torment ceased. The intruder retreated, vanishing into the night. But the ordeal was far from over. The arrival of the police brought with it a revelation that sent chills down my spine. The police officers meticulously surveyed the surroundings, piecing together the fragments of this terrifying puzzle. Their investigation uncovered a haunting truth. An elderly man, his mind warped by delusion, had been haunting the very apartment I now called home. Armed with a knife and a crowbar, he sought to reclaim the possessions he believed we had stolen from him during our move. The realization sent shivers down my spine, my mind struggling to comprehend the sheer madness that had unfolded before me. I was but a pawn in a twisted obsession, an innocent victim caught in the crosshairs of a deluded mind. In the unusual autumn of 2016, I embarked on a new chapter of my life, moving into an antiquated half of a house that stood since the 1880s. Nestled near the once thriving Indiana University campus, now turned into an abandoned park, often visited by the homeless and individuals struggling with addiction. Little did I know, the dwelling held secrets of its own, secrets that would test my skepticism and sanity. The house itself was a peculiar arrangement, transformed by the owners into an unsettling duplex. A friend who had previously occupied the other half had warned me of its haunted nature, but I brushed off his claims, attributing them to his oddities. Yet, as I ventured deeper into the dwelling, the layout seemed to mirror the peculiarities that lay within. Upon entering, I found myself in a living room, a space that felt both familiar and foreboding. Continuing my exploration, I passed through a doorway that led to a bedroom, only to discover a path further leading to the kitchen. It was a complex design, devoid of doors except for the one guarding the bathroom, and another granting access to the shared basement. As night fell and solitude wrapped its icy tendrils around me, I couldn't shake the sense of unease settling in my bones. The first night arrived, leading in an unsettling stillness. Loneliness enveloped me, amplifying my senses and leaving me on edge. I attempted to find solace in slumber, but the veil of sleep was swiftly lifted. From the depths of my restless dreams, the sound of drums filled the living room, their energetic beats reverberating through the air and bouncing off every corner. Fear gripped me, rendering me paralyzed in my bed. Minutes turned to an eternity, until with a trembling resolve, I mustered the courage to investigate. Crossing the threshold into the living room, my heart pounding in my chest, I braced myself for the unknown. And just as suddenly as it had began, the symphony of drums ceased, plunging the room back into a deafening silence. Days later, as a friend prepared to depart from my haunting abode, I recounted my restless nights and the bizarre events that plagued me since my arrival. Our conversation gravitated towards the supernatural, and in the midst of my tale, a chilling incident unfolded before our very eyes. As the words spilled from my lips, a book launched itself from the bookshelf, soaring through the air, defying the natural laws that govern our world. It landed with a thud, the echoes of its descent reverberating through the room, leaving both my friend and I frozen in terror. An unspoken understanding passed between us, and he hastily bid us farewell, his features etched with a mixture of fear and disbelief. Driven by desperation, I sought the wisdom of the other half's tenant, a man who had lived here for 8 long years. Inquisitive, I probed him about the inexplicable occurrences that plagued my side of the duplex. To my surprise, he confided in me that over the years, various individuals had taken up temporary residence in our home, each experiencing their own encounters with unexplainable phenomena. What perplexed him, however, was the fact that our own living space seemed to be immune to these supernatural occurrences. It was a puzzling paradox that only deepened the mystery surrounding our shared dwelling. Once upon a time, in a small town just south of Farmersburg, I found myself trapped in a bone-chilling tale that would forever haunt my every thought. It began when my parents, burdened by errands in town, entrusted me to the solace of our home. Their only reassurance was the presence of our loyal protector, a magnificent dog, Collie. Before departing, my parents warned me to lock every window and door, safeguarding my solitude from the perils that may lurk outside. At around 8 p.m. they left, leaving me alone with the daunting task of securing our home. I diligently followed their instructions, sealing every entrance. However, fate had a sinister plan in store for me. As I neared completion, a single window in the basement refused to surrender to my efforts. No matter how hard I pushed and pulled, it stubbornly remained slightly open, denying me the reassurance of a tightly shut barrier. With a heavy sigh, I conceded defeat and ascended the stairs, compelled to rely on the deadbolt lock on the basement door to ward off potential dangers. Nightfall blanketed the land with its shadows, and I cozied up for the night, finding comfort in the presence of my loyal furry friend. We snuggled together, and the weariness of the day started to overtake me. It was at that late hour, when darkness held sway and dreams took a sinister turn, that I was abruptly jolted awake from my peaceful slumber. Blinking groggily, I cast a glance at the clock, its hands ominously pointing to the unwelcome time of 2:30. Puzzled, I pondered the cause of my abrupt disturbance when a strange sound assaulted my ears. A continuous dripping. My first assumption led me to believe that I had unintentionally left the tap open. Rationalizing it as a trivial inconvenience, I tried to ignore the sound and succumb once again to the embrace of sleep. Yet an unsettling unease permeated the room, compelling me to seek reassurance from my dog. Carefully, I extended my hand over the edge of the bed, allowing the dog's comforting lick to soothe my growing apprehension. Brief respite embraced me as I slipped back into the realm of dreams. Alas, the relentless night had no intentions of granting me peace. At precisely 3:45, I awoke for the second time, the continuous dripping echoing through the stillness. Irritation began to replace my initial apathy, yet exhaustion forced me to surrender to the darkness once more. Desperate for comfort, I once again reached out to my dog, hoping his presence would lull me into a sense of security. Morning's light cast its ethereal glow, breaking the shackles of the night. At 6:52, my unrest reached its climax, and I decided I could bear this torment no longer. Eagerly, I rose from my bed, anticipation building as the distant sound of my parents' return reached my ears. Relief washed over me as their car pulled up to the house. I would no longer suffer alone. With hopeful steps, I ventured toward the bathroom, determined to address the lingering issue of the perpetually dripping tap. But as I pushed open the door, my heart froze in my chest, and an anguished scream clawed its way out of my throat. There, suspended from the curtain rod, was the lifeless, skinned body of our loyal collie, its crimson essence staining the floor below. The haunting sound that had plagued my nights was nothing other than the ghastly symphony of its blood dripping onto the cold tiles. Terror gripped my soul, and the need for protection propelled me back to my bedroom. My eyes, still stinging from tears, fell upon a sight that defied reason. A small note, etched in blood, rested on the floor beside my bed. The words upon it seared into my consciousness, leaving an indelible scar. Humans can lick too, my beautiful. To this day, the memory of that harrowing night haunts me.